Coming to you from beautiful downtown Santa Rosa, this is the Backstage Sonoma podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Welcome to Backstage Sonoma. I'm Steve Roby, and today we're joined by Pete Delaney, the creative force behind Pete Floyd, a tribute that captures the essence of Pink Floyd right here in the Sonoma, Marin area. Pete Floyd isn't just a band, it's a journey back in time crafted by Pete Delaney alongside a talented ensemble of local musicians. Their performances are not just concerts, but immersive experiences that resonates with diehard fans and new listeners. Pete, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Backstage Sonoma.
Great. Thanks for having me, Steve.
Well, let's dive right in. Tell us about the genesis of Pete Floyd. I know I'm going to say Pink when I mean to say Pete. So please,
people do that often.
Please, it's just so many years of saying Pink Floyd. But
yeah.
Anyway,
well, that's the play on it. So actually, the genesis of this was Peter Hale and myself, Pete Delaney. We were getting together. We're both in bands around in Sonoma, Marin areas, played around for years, and we always wanted to do something together. And so it was the end of COVID, like 2021. And we were talking and we just like, we should do something that could really bring people together coming out of this pandemic. There was such a drought of music, something deep and meaningful and something from like when we all grew up. We have a lot of friends that do tribute bands and we're like, maybe we could do a tribute band. Talked about a couple other bands like the Beatles and a couple other things. But then when we really thought about it, Pink Floyd, we both have such a deep love of the music, and it's a challenge. It's technically challenged, the music, the theatrical piece. So we're like, let's see what we can do on that. Let's just see what we can pull together. But that was the original idea. And because of the COVID situation, we were actually able to pick up some pretty heavy hitters in the band just to get together to see what we could do. And that was the original genesis.
It's a huge task to take on, considering the volume of Pink Floyd's catalog and the various guests they've had over the years. Who makes up your band? Who do you've got playing in there?
We have 8 people in the band. We use everybody to the extent of all of their amazing talent. We're very blessed to have all the folks we have. They're just all amazing musicians. They all have long careers writing and recording and performing. And this exact configuration that we have has been in place since 2021. In November, and we never play without this configuration. We always put this configuration together. And a lot of that has to do with what you just said, the continuity, the technicalness of it, and the playing off of each other. And also they're just amazing people. And we have Toby Tyler, who's on bass. He plays with a lot of folks here in Sonoma, Marin. He's in this band called The Hops, which is a local tribute cover band that plays around Petaluma and Marin. And then he's also in my band, The Grain, which is a jam band, original music that I do. And then we have Alex Garcia, who is just the most incredible sax player. He does synth. He does a lot of our sound effects as well. He's just a great guy and just an incredible musician. And then Bob McBain, who is probably, we always joke, he's the hardest working musician in all of Sonoma County. And it's actually true. He's in about 20 bands, literally.
Wow.
And he cuts across all musical genres, always just a great guy and just an incredible talent. And then the backbone of our band is Sean Englund, who plays drums. He's been around for a while. He plays with a few bands. He was playing with a few bands, decided to take a break once we went through COVID. And I actually was able to coax him back out of retirement. And he does so much for the band, which I can talk to you a little bit later as well, beyond the drums. And then we're blessed to have Paige Clem, who's just an incredible singer from Marin. She has her own solo albums. She plays with a ton of different people, but she's Terrapin Crossroads. I don't know if you know that place. That used to be in San Francisco. She was a regular there, played like every week, and was just an incredible person. And also is pretty much our spokesperson whenever we're talking. And also she's an actress, so she really brings a lot of the show elements to our show, which is really great to have, as you can imagine with this music.
I am curious though, why Pink Floyd? What was your inspiration to go with Pink Floyd? Did you see them a lot in concert? Do you have a huge Pink Floyd record collection?
That's a great question. I think what it really was that I've always had my few influences. Pete Townsend is one big in my mind as far as guitar playing, but David Gilmour really has always resonated with me, his style, his tone. And then I loved, like, when I was in high school, like, The Wall came out. That was like my big introduction to Pink Floyd. And so as I dug into the catalog, just the psychedelic vibe, but then the technical piece, the way that they tell stories.
Yeah.
It's just the love of the music. And that was the neat thing about when Peter Hale and I got together around this. So when Pete Hale and I were like, hey, what should we do? It just turned out like we had such this deep connection for the music that they did and the way that there's these epic albums, of course, Dark Side of the Moon, Animals, Wish You Were Here, just these great albums from the 70s. And that's really what turned us on. And interestingly enough, when we were putting this together as a kind of a tester, we asked a friend of ours to let us test it out in West Petaluma at her place there. She has a nice big open area space. And we were fortunate enough to get a person named Teal Collins, who is a really amazing talent. She's an artist, but a musician first. She's gold and platinum albums. She's for her vocal work. She was in a band called the Mother Truckers for years. That was her original band, South by Southwest. They were huge there. They toured through US and Europe. And because of the situation, I was able to get her to come and be the initial female vocal. And then later she brought Paige in. So it was her addition to this made this entire thing really come to life as well. Once you add all of these elements, that's why there's 8 of us. As you build this and you go through the catalog, you start realizing to really do the music justice to the fans, the venues, to Pink Floyd, to the members that are still around. Just to do it right, you need this group of people to do that.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge task to pull off. And my hat's off to you.
Thank you.
Let's play a sample of Pete Floyd in concert. The song is Great Gig in the Sky. You've got to have the right singers on this one. Who's singing lead vocals here?
This would be Teal, or Sweet Tea. She is a force and probably one of the nicest people you could ever meet. Humble and just an amazing talent. So I'll let her vocals speak for herself.
Absolutely. Well, here it is now. This is Great Gig in the Sky by Pete Floyd here on Backstage Sonoma.
Why should I be afraid of dying? There's no reason for it. We've all got to go.
Whoa. Teal Collins.
Pete Delaney is our guest today on Backstage Sonoma. Pete, let's talk about the music itself. How do you approach recreating such iconic sounds, and what goes into selecting your set list from Pink Floyd's extensive catalog? My gosh, it's huge.
Yeah, it's interesting. Our sweet spot is really everything from metal through the wall. We do a couple of songs from pre-metal, which is the David Gilmour era, where it really started with that core group you think of through the mega Pink Floyd, and a couple of things afterwards, the post Roger Waters.
Mm-hmm.
But most of our catalog is really metal, Dark Side of the Moon, Animals, Wish You Were Here, and The Wall.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do is we have regular sectionals and rehearsals. We do a full rehearsal every week before a weekend run of shows to really just get little bits and tightness of it. Like there's the original, like taking it on, like how does it all fit together? What are all the pieces? What are the elements that need to be covered? Is there a saxophone? Is there acoustic guitars? What are all the musical pieces? Is there a lap steel, right? And all of these things. And then what we do is we really pick who should be doing those parts, and we cover off on each other. So there's a lot of like, everyone knows their piece, knows their parts. And so what we do is we put this together, and then this is what I was talking about earlier about Sean Englund. He is really the master of creating all of our set lists. He really spends a lot of time thinking through like, what's the venue we're doing? Where is it? Like when we play Santa Cruz, we mix in maybe some more of the longer psychedelic stuff. Maybe if we're playing like when we played the Novato Festival, the Art and Wine Festival, it was just really the hits, right? And like, so the music has so many ways to mix and match.
Interesting.
We also take from a lot of the live version. So we'll take elements from the 1970s, like Animals tour. We'll put elements of that. And then we'll also look at what Roger Waters is doing now, or what the kind of post Roger Waters era Pink Floyd did. I've seen David Gilmour several times by himself. So we pick and choose those bits and then put it into our, I would even say it's interpretations, the feedback of all of that into this. We really put a lot of joy into it. When you see Pete Floyd, we're having a lot of fun with the music.
That's good.
And so that is really, I think, the secret why people really respond well to us. But yeah, when you come to a Pete Floyd show, generally you're going to see different songs and the same songs mixed in a different order. And that's where we're going with the band and continue to go.
Good. Well, your show, it's not just the music. You work in some visuals as well, right?
Yeah. So we have, as we developed the band, I mean, when I first was putting this together, it was like coming out of COVID of like, who wants to do what? Lagunitas, do you want to sponsor the beer thing? They knew somebody that could do lights and sound. We added in some other lighting elements and stuff. But lately, in the last, I'd say 4 to 5 months, we have hired a lighting director. His name's Grant. He's an incredibly talented lighting director. And so we have been honing down our light show. All of our lights are coordinated with the songs we're doing. They're adding the elements of like visuals with it. So everything you would expect from kind of that bigger Pink Floyd era.
Yeah.
The interesting part of that is that I talked about The Wall earlier, but really my biggest introduction was live at Pompeii, which have you seen that film?
Yeah.
So there's no light show there. They're basically in the stadium, right? In Pompeii. And it's all the music and the vibe and the sort of the visualization that you're getting from what they're saying, what the music is speaking. And so that's really the core element. But yes, we put in a lot of work, effort, and some really great expertise around. That's actually the biggest growing part of the band is our visual experience for everyone.
Yeah. God, you're bringing back memories for me. I remember growing up in San Francisco, and I think shortly after the Dark Side of the Moon album came out, one of the local FM radio stations, they probably couldn't do it anymore these days, but they got a laser light show to shine on the Transamerica Pyramid Building to go with the music. They played the whole album straight through, and I lived near the Twin Peaks area, and from there you got a light show and you turned on your FM radio. So some of these songs are bringing back so many memories for me. It's fun.
Well, that's interesting too, because like for me, it would be Griffith Park going to Laserium, Los Angeles. What's really fascinating about this is how personal all of this is, like your personal story just there, Steve. I get that all the time.
I bet.
And to the point, I never really liked it because this guy that treated me wrong was like Pink Floyd. Like from that to like, oh my gosh, when I was 16 and we went to Laserium in the Golden Gate Park or something, like it's just these wonderful, like intimate stories. It's very much like that. I think it's a very personal music. Yeah. People relate to it on a very personal level.
Right. Let's play some more of your music, especially from the live performance here. This is Dogs off the Animals album. It runs for about 16 minutes, so I'm going to just play a section of it. So is there anything else you'd like to add about this one? Like where was it recorded? Anything special?
Well, that's an interesting that you're picking that one, because as I told you in the Genesis story, we all got together and I had sent out a list to the musicians that were coming to just try this thing out with Pete. And I'm like, hey, let's do Dogs. So that was the very first song that this group of people ever really did together. From the first part of the song, I knew we had something because it sounded incredibly just like I heard it with Roger Waters, just like I hear it on the album.
Nice.
So this is a real special one. And the other thing about this song is just the prowess of Peter Hale, like his guitar technique. He's an amazing progressive rock guitar player. And he really, like, when you come see the show, you'll see how incredible he plays this song. It's an amazing thing to watch and hear.
Great. Oh, man, that was a great introduction. You make me want to play the whole 16 minutes. Let's play it now. This is Dogs by Pete Floyd here on Backstage Sonoma.
I've got to admit that I'm a little bit confused. Sometimes it seems to me as I'm just being used. Got my leg, I'm trying to shake off this creepy malaise. If I don't stand my own ground, how can I find my way out of this maze? Stepped on and thought, just keep on pretending that everyone's expendable, and no one has a real friend. Well, it seems to be the thing to do would be to isolate the one else. You know, everything's turning under the sun. I do believe at heart everyone's stuck in a rut.
And we're back. My guest is Pete Delaney from Pete Floyd. I got a question from a listener who wants to know about your most memorable show. What's the one performance with Pete Floyd that stands out for you?
That's a really great question and a hard one because we've had so many great moments with this band. The band is relatively new. I mean, we've been really at this since 2021. The music and the performance lends itself to larger stages and venues.
Yeah.
And so I would say, to answer that question honestly, which is probably wasn't our best show, but our third show was at the Phoenix Theater here in Petaluma.
Yeah.
And it was still coming out of COVID. And it was Pete Floyd and a laser light show. There was a separate laser light show that was brought in to do it. And it was the first time this configuration, all 8 of us rehearsed the songs that we have really developed even more to like a whole other level. But I think that was so memorable because we were doing it and there was over 450 people there. It was just this incredible experience, and the feeling of this music in an old big theater, it was like it all came together.
Nice.
Right. See, like this from Pete and I talking about it to like, oh my gosh, here it is. Right.
Yeah.
So to me, that was what was so neat. And then the response of everyone, just the way people were responding to the music and to the visuals and to the entire production. It was just really like, that was the momentum that keeps me going.
Nice.
When working hard at it, maybe it's tiring and stuff, but that's when I'm like, I just go back to that. Like, that's why we're doing this, is to bring that joy and that amazing experience.
What are the audiences like at your show? Do they call out to their favorite songs, or are they respectful, or are they busy dancing? What's it all like? What's the vibe like?
Well, it's interesting because it's a great range of people. So this is a good kind of analogy, is that we play at the California Monterey Theater, which is a pretty large theater. It's an all ages show. There's younger folks, there's people, I'm in my 50s, that age group. But yeah, it's like, and then you have the very devoted Pink Floyd people that are really into it. Like this, like the whole there to see what we're doing. How are we going to pull this off?
Yeah.
I'm happy to say we haven't disappointed any of them.
Oh, good. That's good.
Impressed. But so the crowd, yeah, they're up, they're in front, they're dancing, they're listening, they're singing along. And I think what really grabs me is when, like, for example, like doing like a big, huge hit, like Comfortably Numb, and just everyone connecting in a personal and group way with like every note, the vibe, and just all of the whole place feeding off of each other. People that love Pink Floyd very much love Pink Floyd, right? And then it's neat to see new people that maybe it's their first time. So I bring up the Monterey because there were 2 young men there. We call it the Pete and greet afterwards. So we were meeting them and they're like, oh, you have to do this song off the wall. You have to do this song off the wall. So fast forward 6, 7, 8 months later, we're in Santa Cruz playing in Filton, and we do the song and they're like right in front of me and like, don't you remember I said that? I'm like, hey, yeah, we did that song for you. But we did it. It was like almost like it happened in a really magical way.
That's great.
So when you come see the show, you'll just see all 8 of us connect. Everybody connects with the audience. The band is very much interchanging. We laugh. We're having fun doing this. And that really like goes out to the crowd. Our last show at the Chapel in San Francisco, people were standing. It was packed to the back and dancing, singing, swaying, feeling everything. And one of my favorite parts is when we do Wish You Were Here. And it's basically like, we don't have to sing because the place is singing along so loud.
Sweet.
And feeling every word. It's pretty magical.
What a great tribute. Have you got anything special planned for the upcoming show at the Sebastiani Theater?
Yeah.
Tell us about
the Sebastiani Theater is such a special place for us. We support them so much. And I just walked by it one day and I'm like, hey, I wonder if I can get a show there. Looks like a neat old theater. That's what we like to do. They are always so supportive. And so they actually hired a laser light show to play with us, which is a really amazing addition to our light show and everything we do, like with the music and all of that. So the experience there at the theater is amazing. And so one of the things is See, for next year, it's Wish You Were Here's 50th anniversary.
Okay.
And so we're going to be featuring that album. So we have been working very hard. And for those that are familiar with that album, there's the Shine On You Crazy Diamond, parts 1 through 9. And then, of course, you have Welcome to the Machine, and you have A Cigar, and you have Wish You Were Here, and you have all this flow through. It's one of those sort of 70s albums that just moves all the way through, right?
Yeah.
One of the things is we're going to be previewing some of that there while as we prepare to really feature that next year. So that's one thing that's going to be really cool. And then, of course, the laser show is just on its own. People go to see lasers like you yourself, right? You would see the laser show to watch and listen to the music. Imagine that with a live band really presenting it. So both those things should really get people stoked. I'd also like to mention we're playing the Saturday after Thanksgiving at the Mystic Theater, which again will have a full-on visual effect. We call it the Black Friday, right? Sort of the pink weekend for us. So that'll be on Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Pete Floyd will perform on Friday, September 20th at the Sebastiani Theater. The show starts at 8 p.m. and tickets can be purchased at the SebastianiTheater.com website. And as we wrap up, any other stuff you're working on?
Well, gosh, I just encourage everyone to go to PeteFloyd.com to our shows. I mean, we constantly have different things coming up where the band's expanding outside of the Bay Area. We're playing Chico. We've done Sacramento. We're doing some more down in Monterey and reaching out a little bit. So lots going on there. And like I said before, the light show, we're really putting a lot of effort and time into this coordinated experience. So you're going to get basically a very cool theatrical show with an incredible light show with incredible music written by Pink Floyd, performed by us. So it's just getting better and better every time. And it's just been a great trip.
Oh, great. Pete, thanks for doing this great tribute to such an iconic band, Pink Floyd. And thanks for sharing your story and your music with us today.
Well, thank you, Steve. I really appreciate you reaching out.
Backstage Sonoma will be right back after this quick break.
Welcome to Backstage Sonoma, your all-access pass to the heartbeat of the Bay Area music scene. From jazz to rock, blues to world music, we bring you intimate conversations with the artists shaping our soundscape. Hear their stories, explore their inspirations, and dive deep into the creative process that makes each performance unforgettable. Hosted by Steve Roby, seasoned radio personality and best-selling author, Backstage Sonoma has featured Grammy winners like Judy Collins, Colby Kyle Lott, Leslie Mendelsohn, and chart-topping guitarist Adam Hawley. With over 200 episodes and 4 years of exclusive content, we keep you connected to the local and touring musicians making waves today. Whether you're a lifelong music lover or discovering new tunes, join us on Backstage Sonoma, available on all major streaming platforms, including YouTube. Don't miss a beat. Subscribe now and be part of our growing community of listeners. Backstage Sonoma, where the music never stops.
Thanks for listening to the Backstage Sonoma podcast. Join us next time for more great interviews and music from local and touring musicians. You can find us on the web at BackstageSonoma.com.
There is no dark side in the moon, really.